Hey everyone, Val here, and I'm going to start my pantry remodel. So I've been working for the month of January to eat the stuff that's in the pantry, or try to clean out a lot of the stuff that's in the pantry. And that way it'll open up some space. I can get everything out of the pantry and we can remodel the pantry. It's just not an efficient space for us right now. When we bought the house, this is the way it looked, and we've been working on remodeling different parts of the house, and it's time to do the pantry. So let me show you where we're going to start, and then it's going to take me a while. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to work on it a couple hours a day, and I'll put this video together. Once I'm finished, I'll show you the video. So let's get started. Okay, so when we bought the house, this is the way it looked. We have a shelf here. Actually, the shelves were about half the size. We actually added an extra board so that the shelves came out farther, so we had more space to store stuff. So we have two shelves here, and then we have a little storage space underneath the shelves, which I was keeping a lot of pots and stuff there, but I've taken those out and kind of repositioned those a little bit. Over here, there is a rack on the wall up here, and then there's this plastic shelving in here, which has a variety of stuff on it, from, you know, pastas to paper goods and, you know, more paper plates and stuff like that. I throw my bags from the grocery store in here. Got my garlic hanging on the wall. They have a rack here on the wall. That's going to come off. That's going to come off. So, and then I'm gonna spackle, lots of holes. I'm gonna paint. It does have a hardwood floor. That's fine. The floor is gonna stay. I don't mind the floor. We'll just clean it up. But my first step is to get all this stuff out of the pantry and get a clean slate to start with. So that's where I'm going to start this morning. I've got a little bit of time, so that's my first step. I don't know why I need this many paper cups. I think I bought these for a church one time, for a church function, and they were left over, and because I bought them, they told me to take them home. But I should have just left them at the church, I think. So, lots of stuff in here that I really need to start using, get rid of, donate, something. We're going to figure that out. Cabinet is empty, as you can see. Everything's empty. I need to take out this, the rack, the screws off this wall, spackle all this up. There's a lot of holes in these walls, so get those spackled up. I'm going to get this down because I want to paint this door too. This door is in terrible shape. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a light gray. I'm going to do the ceiling too, everything in a light gray after I spackle it nicely. And then I'm going to do the shelves in a dark gray. I'm going to pop these shelves off. I think I was thinking about adding another shelf, but we're going to see how that goes. I've got to get measurements. I'm going to put the what I want to do is put the canned goods on this shelf here, and then maybe build another shelf on top of it for some other items, and then do a top shelf. I'm not sure how this wall is going to fit into the equation, But I'm going to take this plastic shelving out and I'm going to build another shelf in here. I don't want it to come out too far because I want to be able to get into this corner back here. And if I bring it out all the way to the wall, that's really going to block a lot of my space in there. I'm going to leave the bottom down here for my bags. I'm going to get a bin to put my bags in because I do want to keep those. And I want to put like my potato bin down there and my vegetable bin down there. So down there, I'm not going to put any more pots and pans in here. This is all going to be food storage, and I'm going to put the pots in a different place. But there's a lot of sweeping and mopping and cleaning and spackling that needs to be done before I can go on to the next step. And I know this is a small space in here. It's hard to get you guys in here to see, but it's just a small pantry. This shelving unit will probably go out into the garage loft or Steve's area. I'm just going to sweep up the dirt on the floor because I don't want to track it out on my feet. So excited to finally be getting this project done. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I think I'm going to save this rack because I might be able to use this rack in the laundry room. For my laundry, for my brooms and stuff. Wow, there's some long screws. This is not the best of screwdrivers either because the tip of it's not real flat. How long those screws are. Sheesh. They didn't want this to come out of the wall. I'm probably just gonna sand that down and spackle it. I'm going to paint these doors white. They need to be washed off. I'm going to wash them too. But everything's going to be washed. The pantry is going to be washed before it's painted because I don't want to paint over dirt. So it's never a good idea to do that. I'm going to pop those little rivets or whatever they are out of there. And then start cleaning up the pantry so I can get ready to paint. Alright, let's get these shelves out. We're going to take out the shelves that we can get out of here. Start with a clean slate. I am going to reuse these because why not? It's good wood. It's really nice wood, so there's no reason for me not to reuse it. But I do need to take measurements on my shelves after I paint this because I don't know exactly where I want the shelves to be. So, oh, actually that came out pretty easy. Yep, that popped right off. I didn't have a problem getting that out. So that's good. Alright, so now we have a clean slate in here. I'll show you. Our shelves are out. Clean slate, ready to go. Except for, well, it needs to be cleaned, but get it started. Let me get in there and start cleaning. My dust for cobwebs. I'm going to get all my cobwebs out. because I am going to be painting the ceiling the same color as the walls. So I definitely don't want to be painting over cobwebs. Very cool to have new projects. Very exciting. Alright, I have my bucket of water. I am just gonna like wipe down the doors and wipe down any dirt I see, because I don't want to be painting over the dirt. Have my tub of spackle. So basically what I'm doing when I'm spackling is I'm finding the hole. I'm gonna push as much of the putty in the hole as I can. And then it's kind of like frosting a cake to me. You just want to get as much of the excess off the walls as you can. Alright, let me clean off my knife here. I want to get a nice smooth wall, as smooth as I can get it. Once this dries, I'm going to come over it with some sandpaper and just make sure everything is sanded down smoothly. But I just want to make sure I get as much spackle in the hole as I can to make a nice firm wall. So I'm just going to go around the cabinet. There's a hole there too. That's from a nail. So I'm going to re-spackle that because the spackle has come off. Clean off my knife. Alright, we're going to get it as smooth as we can get it. I'm going to go around and finish up the rest of the holes. I got a bunch of holes up over here, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish everything up, get all of my holes filled. I'm going to fill the 2 holes in the door also, and let it dry. I'm going to let it dry a good long bit, and then we'll come back maybe tomorrow to paint, maybe later in about an hour or so. We'll see how long it takes the spackle to dry, but I want to go ahead and hit all the areas I can and then bring in my sandpaper and sand down some of the bumps like that. Well, that comes off, but we'll get the cabinet as smooth as we can get it. If we see any bumps in here, splash from the previous people that painted or whatever and left it a little lumpy. But I want to get it looking really, really good. It's about an hour since I spackled. The spackle is dry. I went ahead and sanded everything down. I'm going to use the light gray paint that I used in the dining room as the walls and the ceiling in here. And then I'm going to be using the dark gray for the shelving. So I'm just shaking it up because it's not a full container. It's just a partial container. I've got a cup. I'm going to do the ceiling. I'm going to do everything in this light gray color. So I'm about to get started with the painting. Okay, let's get started. My 2 coats of paint are done and they're drying. I think it turned out nice. You can see the difference between the wall, the white and the gray. So the ceiling, everything is painted gray. This is a gray wall. It just looks white because of the way the lighting is, but everything is gray in here. So I think it turned out great. I'm going to let it dry overnight. I'm going to find my white paint that's out in the garage to do my trim. I'm going to do all of the trim and then we'll go from there. The little spots you see are paint that's not dry yet. So, but it's getting there. My 2 coats of paint in the pantry are done, the gray. So now I'm going to be doing the trim and then the door. The door is white. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the door white. I'm going to do the baseboard trim white, and I'm going to do the door jambs all white. So these are a little bit off. This is more of a cream and this is more of a white, but we're going to even it up and we're going to make everything in the color of white. So that's my next step, and I'm not going to sit here and make y'all watch me paint because we all know how to paint, right? But I'll show you what it looks like when I'm finished up. I have 2 coats of paint on the door and the trim around the door. I did both sides of the door. Looks so fresh and clean. I think it really brightens everything up. The trim is really nice. The trim down here, I did 2 coats of the white, and as soon as I put the white on, everything got brighter. So we're really happy with the painting that's done in here. I'm going to let it dry good overnight and then do my next step of getting my shelving built back in here. So I'm coming along. I'm very happy with the progress so far. Today I want to add some more shelving space in here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep this. This is going to be my bottom shelf. I'm going to build it around to here, and then I'll probably put a front leg on it just for more stability. So I'm going to have the bottom shelf coming all the way out to here. We'll leave the space underneath it for a little bit of storage underneath. I'm going to build a lower shelf here. I am going to leave this in here in case I want to change the height of the shelf. I won't have to redo this, and I don't want to pull this from the wall because I don't want to tear the wall either and have to mess with drywalling and stuff. So I'm just going to add another shelf. I got to get my measurements of how high I want this here, because I'm going to put my canned goods on the bottom shelf, my quart jars, and I'm going to build a second shelf, and then I'm going to go up a little higher than this shelf for a third shelf for my small canning jars. That way it'll give me 3 shelves of storage, and then I'm going to bring them out, the shelves out, to have some additional shelves on this side, and even maybe bring them up a little bit higher to have one higher storage shelf up here. So I'm going to start by putting my side rails. That's what I'm going to call these things. I'm going to add the side rails that I need to add. They're going to be painted the light color, the light gray, because I want to, when I put the shelving in, I want that the dark gray. So this is where I'm going to start working today. I'm going to go see what kind of wood I have out in the garage that I can try to match this wood here. I've cut the wood I need for my shelving, the sides of my shelving. I put this in as a base shelf just for a second. It's just laying there. It's not nailed in. But I've got a jar of my peaches there. I'm going to want my next shelf to start right about there. So I'm going to mark the wall at the top of the shelf so I can get a level. And then I've got to get the end of the shelf so I know where to cut it. So let me just make my marking on the top. So as you can see, I put that marking there. That's where this shelf is going to start above this shelving. So I'll get my measurement all the way across to make a level line. So I can put this in as my second shelf. So let me get this cut. And I'm going to cut the pieces of the wood for the side railing. Just going to move this bar out on the saw. I'll get a good measurement here. Let me see, I need to be right about there. Oop. I'll lock my bar in place. And I'm going to get another piece of wood here. Help me to feed this wood through. And here we go. I have all the shelving sideboards cut. I need to paint them. I put one of the shelves up here for a little shelf to hold my tools. I had to go low here, below that, because below this one, for this shelf that's coming over here, because I needed the stud here to nail into. So I did, these shelves are going to be just, you know, about 1 3/4 inches lower than the other shelves, but that's okay. That's not going to bother me at all. I just want more storage space. My highest shelf now is up here, and it'll come out, it'll stop about here, I guess, and then I'll have that space up there. I can put my roasting pan or something, store that up there. But I'll have a lot of storage here underneath for paper bags and stuff, potatoes, onions, stuff like that. And then I'm going to have a whole lot more shelf space to work with. So tomorrow I'm going to be cutting the plywood, and I'm going to be painting everything. I'm going to come through and paint all this, the light gray, and the shelves I'm going to be painting a dark gray. Now, if you're wondering why I just didn't go straight across with one piece here, that definitely could have been done that way. But I'm using what I have in stock for wood, and I don't have a piece big enough to do this whole section. So I'm trying to do this on a budget. Is it going to look okay? It'll look fine for me. But I have to use what I have without going out and buying more wood. So we do have some wood left from some different projects that we did. I'm trying to utilize that wood. We'll see how it looks. I think it's going to be fine. But I'm going to go ahead and bring my paint in and paint my slats. Now, if you're doing this or you want to do this in your pantry, whatever, one long piece is fine. Just use what you have. We're trying to work on a budget. So, I've cut the first 3 pieces of plywood for the shelves in the very back. So I have 3 pieces of plywood. I've sanded them down. Now I'm going to paint them on both sides, top and bottom. I'm using the darker gray for that. So I've put up a makeshift shelf painter here. I'm not worried about getting paint on the chairs because they're going to be painted on my next project. So I'm going to go ahead and paint these 3 shelves the dark gray color. I did cover the chairs with a cloth so I didn't get paint on them. Even though I am going to paint them, but I want them to look decent until I get to that point. So I'm just taking my time. This paint dries really, really quickly. So as soon as this is dry, I'll probably do a second coat on this side and then flip it over and do 2 coats on the other side. First 3 shelves are painted and in the cabinet. I'm really happy with the way they turned out. They look good. I don't know if you can tell that the shelf is darker than the wall, the way the lighting in the cabinet is bad, but the shelves are darker than the wall. I guess you can see a better example here. This wall looks dark, but it's not. It's the same light color. It's just the way the lighting is in the cabinet. Really, really happy with these shelves. I'm going to work on these shelves now. We'll see how they come out. So this build so far has cost me nothing because we had these old pieces of plywood already out here in the garage. So that's what I've been using for making the shelving. So I've had 0 expense so far. The paint came from leftover paint from our dining room. So the shelves, I want the shelves 28 by 15. So I'm gonna cut 3 shelves that size, and then I'm going to figure out exactly how big I want the top shelf. All right, and 28, it puts me about right there. Okay, just going to use a let me get my level. All right, that's my shelf right there. Make sure that's good on that line. Oh, let me see. I think that's going to be good. All right. I'm going to go all the way down. Extra. We'll save that, and then we'll get my second mark over here, which will be right there. Slide this. That looks good. right, this looks good for my shelf. I'm gonna go take it inside and see if it fits where I want it to fit, or if I need to sand it down a little bit more. But we're gonna check this one out. I need 2 more the same size. I have that piece of plywood back there, so I have plenty of plywood to finish these 3 shelves, and then I want to do the top shelf, and I've got to get a measurement for that because it's going to be a little bit bigger, I think. So let's go try this shelf in there. I have all 4 of the shelves cut, and I sanded them down. I have the leg braces for each of them. I haven't sanded those yet, but I'm going to hit that with a little bit of sandpaper. Now all I've got to do is paint these, so I'm going to set up a little painting station here, get these painted, and then I am going to nail these in. So I'll nail the shelves to here to give them extra support. These shelves don't need it because I can pop them out if I want to and adjust the shelf height if I need to for whatever reason, because I did leave the extra shelf thing in there. So let me get these painted, and we'll pop them in and see what it looks like. Alright, the shelves are ready to install. Okay, I have the shelving completed, as you can see, all the way up to this extra top shelf that I'm probably going to put some, maybe my roasting pan, my big roaster up there, my electric roaster. The only thing I want to do, this lighting is not really great, but these shelves, I want to put a bracket here to hold this, the bottom of these shelves. The tops are nailed here, but the bottom are not nailed. So I want to get like a little bracket just to kind of hold them in place to give them a little more sturdiness. But the shelves are solid. I mean, they're not going anywhere. They're nailed in along the side and the back. And so I have plenty of storage in here now, a whole lot of storage. So much more than before. So I can't wait to get the brackets put on and start loading in. And I can actually start loading in before the brackets are on. But I have a mess of a kitchen to clean up. So I'm gonna get that going. And this is all stuff over here that's gonna need to go into the pantry. And then my paints and stuff that I have up on the stairs. So everything's gotta be put away. But I am happy with the way it turned out. And for $0, I've spent no money doing this. I'm not happy with the way this looks. And down here, you know, these are loose here. They're not secured. So what I did was I bought braces, like L braces, to go on these to hold these in place, because you know I don't want to bump these and have them break off. I know if they're tight, if there's weight on them, they're not really going to move, but I want to put brackets on them. So I bought L braces for those. I am going to remove this one right here, and I've bought L brackets to go on the studs here. So there's 2 studs. There's one right here and there's one right here. So I'm going to put an extra piece of wood down here, put the bracket on this, on the studs, so that this shelf can be supported without this. And this is going to go away. So I ordered those online. Those should be in the next few days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start loading some of these shelves up. I want to get the food reorganized in the kitchen. I don't have to wait for the brackets. As you can see, I have canned goods in this cabinet down here, which I'm going to move over there and use this storage for like paper goods and dishes and stuff. I've also got up here in this storage, I have cereals, which are all going to go into the pantry. This is going to be more storage for stuff like this that it's on my countertop that I need to get off. And then down here, there's storage down here. That's all going into the pantry. This will be used for, I think the bottom one, I can get drinks or something on there possibly. But this is going to create extra storage for me. I have an issue with my storage down here. There's way too much junk in here. I need to make this look better so I can get some of this stuff out of here and up into some of these other cabinets, and I can make this much more functional than it is right now. So that's my aim. That's what I'm going to start working on, and start loading the pantry back up. I do have all these items over here. Now as I'm going along, if I need containers, I can get the containers that I want to get and get all of this stuff put away. So that's what I'm going to be working on while I'm waiting for my brackets. I'm not going to put anything up on this top shelf up here until I get the brackets put on it, because I do want to take this off here. I got the L brackets in for the pantry to finish up the pantry. I've loaded some of the shelves that were stable, and as soon as I put the L brackets on, I'm going to finish up the rest of the shelves. I'm going to load up the rest of the stuff that goes in the pantry. There's a few things over on the dining room table. And then I can do my pantry and kitchen reorganization reveal for you. The pantry's finished. And I'm going to do the big pantry reveal. Before we go into the pantry and look at it, I'm going to take you through a few of the cabinets, because I did reposition a lot of things to make the kitchen more functional. I took paper goods out of the cabinet. I took dishes and pans and stuff out of the cabinet, out of the pantry that didn't need to be in there. I've repositioned some items in the kitchen. I'm going to take you through the kitchen and kind of show you where I repositioned stuff. And then I'll take you and show you how the pantry turned out. I'm really, really happy with the way it turned out. I got the L brackets in, so I got to secure the shelves. And then Steve went out and got me some hooks, and I put some hooks up for hanging some of the other items. But let me turn you around, and I'll kind of take you through my train of thought. But I think the kitchen is much more functional right now. All right, this is the island in the middle. If you remember, I had down here, I had a bunch of drinks and stuff that were sitting down here on the floor, and I wanted to get everything off the floor. So I took the canned goods that were down here out of this cabinet, and I made this cabinet a drink cabinet. I don't normally get Dr. Pepper, but my grandson Gavin was coming to visit, so I got a couple things of the Dr. Pepper. I'm going to leave those in there for the next time he visits, and then the other kids like the hugs. So we have those. Steve and I both drink the energy drinks from time to time, and there is some bottled water down there. So now this is no longer a storage for our canned goods, the things we can, like our spaghetti sauce and stuff like that. All the food went into the pantry. We always use this for our baked goods. So this is, baking powder, baking soda, chocolate chips, stuff like that. The top shelf had some snacks on it. I've put all of our baking items up there, and some of the canning items like the lime and stuff like that. All of that kind of stuff is up here in this cabinet now. So it's much more functional. It makes sense now. Down here in this cabinet, I had a lot of stuff chucked down there. I took out a couple things I don't use, and I'm going to get rid of them, like a yogurt maker and a spiral slicer, things that I just don't use. So now down here we have my Instapot in the back there, and then we have slow cookers, we have my air fryer, food processor, and then processor that we use for canning. All that stuff, all the slow cookers and stuff together. I like the way that looks down there. I can easily grab one of those to use it. I pulled out my stand mixer. I'm going to leave that up on the cabinet, and I'm going to cover that. I'm going to make a cover to go over it. That way I don't have to, every time I need the mixer, pull it out from underneath the cabinet here. My countertop is cleared off. It looks really good. And over here where I have my salt and pepper and other spices that I use all the time for cooking, I put it in a bin so that it's just not all scattered all over the cabinet all the time. Up here I had my cereals. I put my blender up here, I put my waffle maker, and then another pot up here, because these are things I don't use very often at all. So I can put them up out of the way, and I can put my cereals in the pantry where the food belongs. These cabinets I didn't change. This cabinet had a lot of glassware here that we didn't utilize very often, so I put it in the back up here. All of these glasses that we use only when we have a lot of company or something coming. The rest of this cabinet stayed the same, but it freed up shelves for me so I could, and there were snacks up here. I got the snacks out of the cabinet. They went to the pantry. So this works for me now because I can have these easily at hand when I need a bigger storage container, or these glass dishes that I never used because they were tucked away and I couldn't reach them. Or I didn't even really think about them, so I didn't use them. A lot of those items were down here, and that made this cabinet really overcrowded for me, because the only things I really want down here are my mixing bowls, and I have a cast iron pot down here, and then all the covers for the bowls are back there along with a wooden salad bowl. I had all that other stuff crammed in there, and it made it so hard and not functional at all. I was happy to get that out of there and get it up into this closet, this cabinet up here, where it's much more workable. Down here, I pulled all the food out of this closet, and I put all my paper goods, my cake keeper, things that I don't use very often. That way it's tucked away. There's some sets of knives down there for camping, and like I said, we don't use this stuff very often. There's napkins in there, and I'm not a big fan of a corner cabinet, so that utilizes that space a lot better for me. The rest of the drawers and stuff I kept the same. These I kept the same except for that cabinet that has the bowls in it. So now we're going to go to the pantry. The big reveal. Are you ready? Walking into the pantry already, you can see I put the boards up here, and I painted everything the light gray. Like you saw, the walls are the light gray, and then the shelves are the darker gray. But I put these strips of board up because there's no studs behind it, so I had to nail into the corners here. Up here I have two fire blankets. One will probably go into the laundry room when I redo the laundry room, but I could hang up all of our fire pit utensils that we use for, these are to cook kebabs, those are to cook hot dogs, and then I do have my fire extinguishers. I tried to get everything off the floor. If you remember when we first came in here, this floor was just piled full of mess, so I tried to get that out of there. Now looking up here, if you remember, we had two shelves here. I made three. On the top shelf I have our pint jars of pickles and salsa verde, applesauce. Have some canned goods here, and then some soups. And back here I have like my macaroni and cheese and items like that. On this shelf, I have my pancake mixes. I have some crackers here. I have bins. These are teacher's bins, but they work really well. I have one has salad dressings in it, one has sauces in it, and it is kind of dark in here. This one back here has diced tomatoes and stuff in it. And then back in there, there's one that has dried beans, different kinds of dried beans, and then one that has steak sauces in it, which are reachable for me because I can reach back here and grab a steak sauce. It's something that I'm not going to use every day, but I can still reach in and get it. Down here we have our peaches and pears that we've canned, sauerkraut, and then our tomato sauce that we canned. We have more tomatoes out in the freezer that we're going to pull out. We're going to can some more sauce. So I do have some space here to add extra bottles of sauce in there. It's going to be very functional for us to have all of our canned goods here in one spot. And then on the floor, I have this bin, which I've just put plastic bags in from the grocery store and paper bags. That way they're not all in a corner over here, stacked up to halfway up the wall. This makes it neater. And then the only other thing I have down here is this is my 18-quart roasting pan, and then I have my other roaster for cooking turkeys and stuff. Now, if you remember, they had that white shelf in here. I now have a built-in shelf. I got my L brackets. I've got my L brackets here, so these shelves legs are very, very sturdy now. On the bottom, I have a basket for my onions and potatoes, and I just used the last of the potatoes. I have to get some more. There's a bucket with beans, and this bucket, those are like kidney beans, and those are lima beans, I think. Anyway, down here we have our Bisquick and our instant potatoes, some cornmeal and breadcrumbs, and then there's some pastas over here. I have all my flours and sugars and dry milk and rice on this shelf, and then this shelf has cereals on this side, and then all the snacky stuff on this side. And I'm not buying any more snacks and stuff until we eat up what we have, or we just don't need any more right now. So I'm going to really make sure I don't overstuff this pantry. Limit it to what we need instead of, how many salad dressings do we need? There's 5 there, and we have probably 3 in the refrigerator. We don't need all that salad dressing. We don't need all those sauces, the Sweet Baby Ray sauces and stuff. I'm not going to be buying like crazy anymore now that I have everything together and I know what I have. And then at the top shelf I have my electric fry pan and electric griddle up there, along with a cutting board. So this is the new pantry. And the only other thing on the floor down here is there's a couple of cast iron things that we use in the fire pit to cook brats. And they don't hang up on the wall, and they're really, really heavy. So I just kind of laid them on the side down here where they're out of the way, and I don't have to mess with them. That's the pantry. What do y'all think? Did I do a good job? These are the floating shelves. I don't know if I showed those to you, but those are the floating shelves. The L brackets for this shelf to keep that shelf up and nice and sturdy, and I didn't need a leg there because I have the brackets on it to hold it up, and that's not that heavy anyway. So that's your final review. Let me know what you think. I like the colors, and I like the way it's organized, and I have pretty much all of my food in one place. Well, let me know what y'all think. I appreciate y'all coming by and checking out the pantry. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed and you want to. And leave me a comment in the comment section if you have not been in the live or the premiere and you've come at another time to watch. That's great. Just leave me a comment and let me know what you think. And remember, it's all about the adventure. So I'm not sure, the next adventure I think is going to be painting these chairs because red doesn't go with my kitchen anymore. And I'm going to paint those a dark gray, the legs of the table and the chairs. That's my next adventure. So stay tuned for that. I'll catch y'all on the next video. Y'all have a great night. Bye now.